Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the science of fatherhood and how to be a great dad. Hello everyone, I'm excited to talk about fatherhood today. It's a mission, for the rest of my life I'm going to be working on becoming a better father. And today I want to talk about some of the things that I've studied and read about being a father. It's something that we don't talk about enough in society. Really, as we've started to become more aware of how women have been dealt poorly in the past, we're starting to lose traction with the fact that all humans and all areas of humanity have created that. The inability to focus on men becoming stronger men and better fathers has created situations where we've created men and women who then subjugate other people. So being a father is really important to defining the individuals around us, and the father figures are incredibly important. Obviously mothers are amazing, and Mother's Day is one of my favourite days of the year, to let your mum know that you love her. Sometimes I think we leave fathers out, and it's time to look at fathers and see how can they positively impact the world around us. So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote. "Daddy," I whispered, feeling your own breath hitch in my throat, "I love you." Just when I was sure he was asleep, the one corner of his mouth lifted in a smile. "I knew that," he murmured. "Always knew that." Morgan Matson. I love this quote so much from Second Chance Summer, the book Second Chance Summer, because it just defines what it means to me to be a father. Like, just being confident in your own skin, just that situation where he created so much love in his daughter by his actions and his strength and his caring for her, that she waited till he was asleep to tell him that he loved her, and then for him to be a man and just turn around and say, "I always knew that," because he didn't need to hear that, because his love was eternal and unconditional. Really, really cool. So my personal story is, I never would have thunk it, but I had two little girls make me a man. So my daughters, Claudia and Sienna, who sometimes I just look at and think they're not real because of how important they are in my life, and they have made me a man. If you would have asked me 10 years ago what makes a man, I would have said strength, discipline, perseverance, real masculine qualities. And if someone would have said to me, "Do you reckon two little girls can make you a man?" I would have laughed, but they have made me a man, and they've made me a father, and that's really helped me understand the world better. So what have I done? What have I understood to keep working on myself as a father? Well, number one, what to expect when expecting. Now, this was the biggest challenge for when I had my first child. There's this crazy evolutionary built-in life hack within you because obviously when women go through childbirth, their body changes, their hormones change, everything changes in order to give the best ecosystem for the baby to grow. But what we've recently found out is that men go through hormonal changes when they become a father, which is absolutely incredible. And one of these was to increase estrogen. So scientists have been researching why estrogen increases in men when their wife is having a baby, because the wife is having a baby. So why is this estrogen levels changing? And they theorized that early in modern human society, men with huge levels of testosterone, and anger and violence, who were around young children would cause the death of those young children. You could imagine a caveman who's just a bit of a nutcase, who goes up to a screaming baby and shakes it, trying to make the baby shake, not realizing that you can harm the baby. Now, those babies never grew into maturity, so they didn't carry the genes that man had. Now, there were some fathers who had high levels of estrogen, and they were much more caring with the babies, and obviously those babies grew up to have the same levels of estrogen as the man. So what biology has worked out, the incredible Tao of biology, has worked out that if your estrogen levels increase during the first 5 to 6 months after having a baby, the man is a much better father. He's much less likely to hurt the child. Now, why is this important to know? It's because it will change you. You'll put on weight, you'll get more moody as a father just as the child's being born. And as you know this, you feel so much better. Because I knew that something was changing in me. I was getting much more easy to upset, and I was putting on weight with my first child, but I thought I was crazy. Learning this made it so much easier to deal with those things. 2, setting the standard for love. Sometimes we can be very simple. Our intellect can be very simple, and we model the world. The world is just a model. If you look at any sort of scientific system of the way the brain understands the world, it's a model that the world uses. It's a model that the brain uses. It doesn't have all the information. It has nowhere near the amount of information, but produces models. And how does it do that? Through experience. It experiences situations and completes the model. So what do you do as a father? You set a standard for love. The way you love your partner or your wife in front of your children is incredibly important. That's why I believe that you're much better to have a divorce, even if you have kids, not staying with the kids, because 2 happy homes are better than 1 broken home. And how you love your partner will help them understand how to love their partners. And if you can move on and perhaps you leave your, have 2 separate households, and perhaps the man and the woman find a partner later on, and in the realm of that child, treat that partner with love and respect, and not the fighting that was coming from the previous relationship, your children will take that into the future, and it's a gift you can give them. 3, joint custody is a challenging situation for fathers. This is happening more and more. It's where there are, we talk about hashtag equality, we talk about all these things, but the reality is in most countries around the world, men who apply for joint custody will either not get it or will get diminished rights in regards to custody. Now, this is something important to deal with, and when it happens, and this is the system, this is the legal system, this is the way it plays out, is to know that it is not about how much time, it's about quality time. You can beat your head against the wall and spend millions of dollars on lawyers trying to get an extra day or 2 with your children. But the best way to get an extra day with your children is to accept your time, make it quality time, and then create an environment where everyone feels so comfortable about you being a father that your time naturally increases. Your kids want to spend more time with you, and they create the environment. I know it's challenging, I know it's difficult, I know it's tough to pick up your kids and drop them off and see them wave goodbye, but ultimately you have to be a strong father, a strong man, show them mental strength, and be the best possible man you can be in that time you have with them. Women seek their fathers in relationships. When I started to understand this and read the wealth of literature that proves it, I started to realise that I need to man up. And my number 1 goal in life right now is to be the best man I can be. Why? Because my daughters will go looking for me. Now, if I'm a fat slob on the couch who yells at them, they're going to look for a fat slob who yells at them, and I don't want that for them. I want them to have an amazing man. So I'm going to become that man, and that will be their model of who they'll look for in the future. Play rough, it's your job. I remember there were situations where I was told I was being a bit rough with the girls until I watched a BBC documentary that said fathers are rough because they train children for the tumbles and the falls of the savannah. They're showing kids that, you see dads do, all this sort of crazy stuff with a kid, and the mother's freaking out going, don't do that. Yes, do that. I know it's your instinct to pick up a kid and go like that, and there's a reason it's your instinct, is that mothers and fathers work very well together. Mothers quite often will be, mama's boy or coddle them and wool, that's sort of the concept. They're very caring and don't want anything to happen. Now the challenge with that is that in the real world things happen. You fall over and hurt your leg. You've got to be worried about objects coming towards you or understanding your center of gravity. And that's why fathers instinctively do the opposite. They throw the kids in the air, they do all these sort of things. Now, that is a biological emphasis that helps them get spatial awareness. So, rough around, and play with your kids on the ground. They love it. And don't listen to the people who are saying, you shouldn't do that with kids. As long as, obviously, you're careful and you're not legitimately hurting them, it's absolutely fine. Speak to the baby before it's born. This is crazy science, right? So, what they have found is that women, baby girls, when they are born and studied, the baby girls who had a father around during the pregnancy went into menstruation later than the children who had no father during that pregnancy. And this statistics blew people's minds. I try to understand, well, why does that matter having a father? And what they've learned is that when you're in your womb, you're adapting to your surroundings. That's what makes humans amazing. That's why we're in the womb for 9 months. Is we're listening, we're hearing, we're getting proteins, we're getting enzymes, we're getting sugars. We're trying to understand our environment. We're understanding how much sunlight is being received by the mum. And this is also true of noise. And your body and female bodies does this remarkable thing. If there is no low octave voice being heard in the womb, the body kicks into the genes, the epigenetics that create menstruation quicker, which means, remember, in a dangerous world like we used to live thousands of years ago, having male companionship was really good, because if another tribe came to whack you on the head, the man was there to protect you against either predators or animals while you did the important stuff within the tribe. Now, if there was no father figure or no low octave voice when you're in the womb, you went through menstruation quicker, because evolution knew that the quicker you got to sexual maturity, the quicker you could mate and have children in dangerous situations and have some protection. Whereas you didn't need that if you had a father figure to protect you. Absolutely incredible. Remember, talking to the baby is super healthy. Don't ignore that, even when it does seem crazy that it's speaking to a stomach. Create a legacy, secret names and rituals. one of the cool things about having kids is you can go back to mystery and fun. For my daughters, I have 2 secret names, and those 2 secret names that I give them are names of very strong, powerful women from the past with mystical sort of abilities, and I want them to research as they get older, and I'll call them those names from time to time, or if I write them a letter, I'll use that secret name. And their life, they'll have to unravel what's the meaning of that name and why does it apply to me. And I've chosen names with really strong qualities and principles of feminine divinity. And this is fun, and I get to watch that unfold. Creating those special things is like the author of your own book, and with your own children. Second to last, be the mountain, not the wind. As the dad, you have the duty to be the mountain. Especially with having 2 daughters, I know what's going to happen. I was a 15. I've witnessed what the teen years are like, and they're going to create a lot of problems for me. My job is to be the mountain, to stand strong and understand that what's happening can be controlled, to be emotionally secure and controlled, to be their mountain. So they've got someone to come to when things are falling apart. So they know if they come to me, I won't break down, and they can have the confidence in speaking to me about some really big issues. Because I tell you what, it doesn't matter what you tell your kids, if you put them in a situation where they don't feel comfortable talking to you, everything you tell them not to do, they will do. They just won't tell you. So many people walk around going, oh, my kids would never do this or have never done that. The kids are doing it. They just would never tell their parents. You want a relationship where when your kids do something that's not great, they tell you. And finally, love unconditionally. Learn this feature because it's so important. Obviously, people have a biological imperative to love their children, but sometimes we put a caveat on that, and what we say is that, listen, I love you, you've got to, do really well at school, and I love you, you should become a doctor. We put these little things on the end. No, you love unconditionally. These children are as much yours as they are the universe's, and they're as much yours as they are themselves, and they will have their life, and they will make mistakes, and they'll be incredible, and they'll be beautiful, and they'll break down, and they'll do stupid stuff, and they'll do smart stuff. Your job is simply to love them during all those periods of their life, and not set up these roadblocks or hurdles for them to get your love. Being a father is the single most incredible thing that's ever happened to me, and I think the more we talk about it, the more we allow fathers to grow as men and become men, and allow those masculine qualities to develop, and people with the kindness and the strength from that, I can imagine the world only being a better place. For fathers out there, it's definitely something to think about. Until tomorrow, goodbye.